Hello everybody, thank you so much for tuning back into E&Ftv. Today we are joined by Max Starkov, who is hospitality and online travel tech consultant and strategist, and also a professor of hospitality travel tech at NYU. Max, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
It's brilliant to have you. So what we like to do on the show is just hear a bit about the guest, a bit about your background, how you discovered, of course, revenue management, and obviously what sort of you've been up to at the moment. So yeah, please tell us a bit about yourself.
I mean, first of all, I come from Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, tucked in between the Black Sea and the Danube River. North of Greece. So, I mean, tourism has always been the main economy in the country. So that's what prompted my interest in international travel and tourism and hospitality in particular. I have undergraduate and master's degrees in hospitality studies and international tourism, MBA from Fordham University here in New York City. I spent 4 summers working for British tourists at the Black Sea, the main Black Sea resort. 1 ski season, again with British tourists working. And then I worked at the Ministry of Tourism of Bulgaria, where I was in charge of international events on one hand, international investments and so forth. We brought the first Sheraton to the country, the first car rental, Hertz, fully the first like national licensee in Central Eastern Europe and so forth. Then I worked as country manager for American Express, and since '89 I have been based in New York City, initially as director of the Bulgarian government tourist office for North America, and then as the founder and CEO of 4 consecutive hospitality-related companies. The first one was a bed bank, the new term that has become fashionable lately, bed bank. We didn't call them like that back in the day. We were wholesalers and hotel reps, if you will. And then 3 internet startups, travelbreak.com, Well Media Technologies. We were the first, for example, online travel marketplace. We were number 3 after Priceline back in the day. Well Media Technologies was the first hotel CRS, third-party CRS for independent hotels, online booking engine and central reservation system for the hospitality industry. And Next Guest, the company that I founded back in 2001, which became the leading hospitality digital technology, marketing, and CRM company globally with over 150 employees. And I led until I was the founder, CEO of this company until 18 months ago. So after I left, I am now consulting hotel companies from major hotel chains, independent hotels, resorts, casinos, and hotel groups, boutique and luxury hotel brands on their online distribution strategies, revenue management, with a focus on increasing the direct online channel distribution and lessening their dependence on the most expensive distribution channels, OTAs, bed banks, GDS, and of course, increasing the repeat business. So that's, and in the meantime, I teach, I mean, I have been teaching at NYU for the last 20 years, from digital marketing to revenue management, CRM, and my latest course, the last 3 years, is hospitality technology.
Fantastic. Well, I actually discovered your profile when I came across a number of articles that you've actually been releasing. It almost looks like a bit of a series of articles anyway, with regards to how hotels can actually work alongside Google post pandemic. I wanted to find out if you'd be able to give our audience a bit of insight as to what you found and what you see going forward from that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Google has become, and the Google travel initiatives have become a household name, if you will, in our industry. There's no doubt that every hotelier is mindful of Google. Whether hoteliers are using Google, and all the opportunities that they have there, that's a different story. But Google is one of the most important, I would say, referral generator in our industry. And if we talk about, I mean, Google controls nearly 90% of search in online search in the United States, 93% in Europe, 91% in Asia Pacific. So Google is here to stay. And if you're smart hoteliers who invest in Google and who use all the different advertising formats on Google, paid, organic formats, generate approximately 50% of their revenues, their website revenues come as a direct referral from Google. So talking about Google, there's three, I would say, important developments that people, that hoteliers should be aware of. The first one is Google becoming an OTA? There have been a lot of an online travel agent. There has been a lot of speculations in the industry, and my take on this question is a definite no. First of all, Google wants to make money from all the different phases of the digital customer journey, from the dreaming phase to the planning phase to the booking phase to the experiencing phase when people are at the property, and then to the sharing phase when people leave the property and share their experiences after they leave the property. Google wants to make money from all of these phases in the form of referral fees. But Google is not and will not be becoming an OTA, and there are reasons for that. First of all, being an OTA is a very hands-on approach. I mean, Booking, for example, Booking has offices in 216 locations around the world. Booking has 17,000 employees, and these 17,000 employees are hospitality-trained employees, revenue managers, channel managers, CRM specialists, digital marketers, and of course, a huge amount are specialized in hospitality, API developers, software engineers, and so forth. But the main thing is that Google, Booking has, or Expedia for that matter, deep industry knowledge, which Google doesn't have. Google has few dozens of people who speak hospitality language. That's it. Google doesn't have offices in 200 plus countries around the world. They don't have revenue managers on staff. Google doesn't have the technology, doesn't have the central reservation system that like OTA, online travel agency, CRS, which of course Expedia has. Expedia spent $5 billion on their CRS, which is now used by Hotels.com, by Travelocity, by Orbitz, by What If in Asia Pacific. The same is with Booking, by the way. Google doesn't have not only the CRM, doesn't have the CRM that is needed, to maintain. For example, you have Booking with the Genius reward program, with over 100 million members, with all the deep data about all of those de facto loyalty members to Booking. Same is with Expedia. Expedia has approximately 100 million loyalty members as well. So the CRM technology to allow you, to do loyalty marketing, to allow you to really do personalization and to manage this humongous database of preferences and of guest behavior and so forth. Google has nothing like this. So in this sense, Google is not prepared to become an OTA from a technology perspective, from a, I would say, staffing perspective. And they don't want to compete with the OTAs in the sense of the OTAs are one of their best customers.
Yeah.
I mean, combined Booking and Expedia, Booking and Expedia spent over $11 billion on Google every year. So in this sense, but Google is very smart to position itself at all of the different phases of the customer journey and to make referral fees in the form of cost per acquisition fees, CPAs, or CPCs, cost per clicks from each of these different phases. So that's the first important, I would say, question about Google. The second one is, and I already mentioned, is that Google has become the shepherd of the customer journey, and especially the digital customer journey. Google is the one that nudges and to a certain extent manipulates and to a certain extent controls the customer journey from the dreaming phase to the planning phase to the booking phase to the experiencing phase and then the sharing phase. And of course, Google does this with one very simple, actually there are two very simple reasons. One is to improve the customer experience, to create a seamless customer experience, and the second, to make money. There's no doubt. I mean, that's their main goal. So being the shepherd of the customer journey, hoteliers simply cannot ignore Google. It's simple as that. And then the third very important, I would say, development or characteristic, if you will, in the post-pandemic era is that Google has turned itself into an integrated advertising ecosystem in which every single advertising format, from Google Ads, this is the paid search, to Google Hotel Ads, which is the meta search on Google, to YouTube videos, to Gmail ads. All of these work hand in hand, and your presence in one of those advertising formats affect the results from all of the other advertising formats. So in this sense, for example, if you have a paid search campaign on Google, then all the data and all of the searches and the keywords, Google uses the behavior in order to target, for example, better different audiences in your Google Display Network, the GDN campaigns, and vice versa. For example, if you have meta search campaign, the Google Hotel Ads, this your presence there helps Google narrow down and deliver better results in your paid search, which is the Google Ads. So my whole point is the following, is that hoteliers should take a step back and look at Google as one integrated advertising platform, if you will. And one thing that hoteliers should not do is to be present in only one of those advertising formats. For example, you have a lot of agencies out there that say, oh, meta search works miracles. So you have to spend money on Google Hotel Ads. But if you spend money on Google Hotel Ads and you have no presence, for example, Google Local, which is the Google My Business format, if you have no presence in Google Organic, which is the Google SEO, if you have no presence in GDN, Google Display Network, no presence in Google Ads, which is the paid search on Google, then your money spent on Google Hotel Ads will be wasted up to the tune of 75%.
Okay.
So it's completely wasted advertising dollars, which hoteliers, especially nowadays, they don't even have.
Mm.
So in this sense, the approach to Google should be a comprehensive. It could be smaller budgets, but you have to play in all of the main advertising formats on Google. For example, Google retargeting. If you use Google retargeting with Google GDN, Google Display Network retargeting, when people come to your website, one way or another, they come to your website, let's say from social media, they may come from search, or they may come from organic, they may SEO, they may come from content marketing, they may come simply because they're repeat guests and they know your property. When they come to your website and they leave your website, then you can retarget those people or target those people with banner advertising across Google Display Network. And Google learns a great deal about those users.
Mm.
And then this helps you target better people in your Google Ads and in your Google Hotel Ads. So my whole point is that Google has to be looked at as an integrated advertising platform. You have to play in all of the main, even with smaller budgets, and you will achieve a far better returns as opposed to choosing randomly. Let's say Google Ads, the paid search on Google. Okay, we have a campaign there because somebody convinced us that we have to have a campaign there. Or Google Hotel Ads. Oh, that's the meta search. So if you do only those ads. So the point is that you have to look at Google. If I invest $10,000 on Google, or $5,000 on Google, or $1,000 on Google a month, what will be my return from Google as a whole?
Right.
That's the whole point. So these are the three, I would say, very important considerations before you even start your campaign on Google. And then, if you remember in my articles, I identified two separate, I would say, strategies. One is the pre-launch strategy, preparing for your Google, if you will, strategy,
yeah,
where you have to look at your website. First of all, is your website mobile first, not mobile friendly? Mobile friendly was 5 years ago. Mobile first. Because 70% of website visitors nowadays, hotel website visitors now come from mobile devices. So is your website mobile first? Does it download for less than 3 seconds? 65% of users don't have the patience to wait more than 3 seconds.
Wow.
So take it or leave it. Do you have, how is your SEO? And again, organic search is a science. I mean, organic search, it's non-paid search, but actually it costs money. And you know, the three components of SEO, the on-page SEO, which is de facto the content on your website and how well it's optimized. We're talking about the links, the inbound links. Is your property listed on all the major directories, local convention and visitors bureau websites? Are there mentions of your property on articles in online publications, Travel and Leisure magazine, for example? Do they have an article about your property and so forth? So PR plays a role there,
yeah,
as well. Even the mentions or links to the property, technical SEO, which is so important. On the other hand, do you have the schema enabled on your website? The Schema Org is an initiative that Google is religious to, if you will. and it allows Google to read snippets of your content that are extremely important for actionable searches, searches related to a particular event, to particular dates. So all the happenings around the property. You have cooking classes, you have yoga classes, you have whatever festival happening close by the property. You have Caribbean night buffet tonight. All of these events that happen that are related to particular hours, particular days, or particular promotions, they can be enabled on the back end and through schema code to be related to Google, and Google will love you for providing free to them content, but it will bring a lot of visitors to your website. So, and on the other hand, AMPs, which are the accelerated mobile pages, is your website enabled for Google AMPs, which of course, all of your content, especially the content that changes dynamically all the time, not the static content, should be, for example, your specials, your packages, your promotions, news around the property. We have a new yoga classes, for example, or we have a COVID-19 distressing spa treatments.
Right.
And all of these, again, promotions, new amenities, new services, if you will, and of course, promotions, packages, special offers, limited time offers. All of these should be enabled for the AMPs, for the AMPs, which are the Google accelerated mobile pages, so that Google can grab them and serve them quite often on top of the search engine results. So all of this is before you even start advertising on Google. So you have to do your homework before you even consider spending a single dollar on Google. And then on the other hand, I already mentioned, but purely business strategy. So on one hand, do you have a solid, I mean, that's the revenue management side, feed the market strategy? I mean, in the past, you know extremely well that the customer segments is the bread and butter for any revenue management. Customer segmentation today is gone. It's irrelevant because all of these different segments are not coming to your property. What's important is your feeder market segmentation. Where are your guests or your guests in this environment coming from, or where they can come from? And of course, we know that domestic, people are traveling leisure. First of all, corporate versus leisure. Corporate, leave it until Q2 of next year.
Yeah.
Leisure, the Chinese are not coming to London this year, nor the Brazilians, nor the Japanese. So where are your leisure guests coming? Of course, driving, people that come with their cars to London, for example, or to Manchester, or to New York City. Definitely driving, definitely short haul type of feeder markets. So identifying your feeder markets that work and can work in this environment that's the main goal of revenue managers today. And then, of course, coming up with a merchandising strategy for each one of those feeder markets. For example, you have drive-in feeder markets. So what do these people need? Parking. Maybe gas rebates.
Yeah.
Come stay with us, free parking and free 25 pound or whatever, $40 of gas rebate. We'll give you the voucher or whatever credit, to compensate for your gas. So the merchandising strategy, all of I already mentioned, distressing spa treatments, even providing one of your conference rooms or smaller conference room for a hair salon, and soliciting local like talent to come and turn this into, people are fed up of having to deal with their hair on their own at their homes. Massages, spa treatment, all of the yoga classes, distressing classes, let's say family fun, some kind of family fun. People are fed up with entertaining their kids at home over the last 6 months. Food and beverage. I mean, people have not cooked at home for that long, ever.
Yeah.
And again, the vast majority of people are not good cooks, let's put it this way. So what I mean is that you can eat pizza only so many days of the week, My whole point is that...
in New York, so you can eat as much pizza as you want.
Yeah, but the whole point is that gourmet food and beverage type of packages can work miracles. So the merchandising strategy. So, and when you have this, when you have done your feeder market analysis, then when you have done all of the above with your website, with your SEO, with your schema code, with your the accelerated mobile pages, then you launch your marketing, if you will, on Google. And again, where do you start? The main thing is that hoteliers at these low occupancies, ADRs that are 40, 50, 60% below last year. The name of the game is to spend as little money as possible, simply because your budget is not there. And that's why for Google, when we talk about Google, you always start with content marketing.
Yeah.
Google loves original content. Google loves unique, relevant content. So how is the content on your website? Do you have local travel guide about the destination? And of course, featuring your property as the hero of the destination. Mm-hmm. Do you have a local calendar of events? What's happening around? Is there a festival? The 5 miles from where I live, where the original Woodstock Festival was held,
yeah,
now they have harvest festivals every week. And they take all the precautions, social distancing, wearing masks, yet it's a beautiful festival. So do you have anything like this around your property that you can promote? So calendar of events are happening, driving cinemas, you have driving movies, you have a lot of things are happening, within the restrictions and within the confines, if you will, of this epidemic. So original content on the website, unique content, fresh content, with all the descriptions about the property, about around the property. Do you have recipes from your famous chef? Let's say weekly recipes that you can blast out on social media, through the blog and so forth. Your advice from your wellness expert at the property, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This could be great blog posts and articles and so forth. So blogging, social media posts, very important for content marketing. PR, I mentioned PR continues to be extremely important to send the message out through online publications, so that you generate links back to the property, you generate mentions of your property, which are very important. Citations have almost an equal value when your property is mentioned, even without a link to your website. Google reads those, and citations are almost equally important as links from a particular, like highly authoritative website to your property website. So in this sense, That's all part of this content marketing, which you have to pay somebody to do it, but there's no advertising. It's free. And it's the cheapest form of presence on Google. It generates the cheapest form of presence on Google, because when Google, when somebody searches family getaways in Manchester, then your page where you have family related promotions, family fun experiences, activities at the property, this page will be served by Google. When somebody is searching spa treatments or distressing spa treatments in London or in New York City, then Google will serve your page that talks about your distressing packages and so forth. So that's how it works. Anyway, Google My Business Listing, which is the local listing. Many hoteliers, especially independents, completely ignore their local business listing on Google, which is, first of all, it's free. Mm-hmm. Second, this is the place where you can promote special offers, you can promote opening hours, you can promote your dining, you can promote new amenities of the property, but also this is where Google accumulates all of the Google reviews, the Google hotel reviews. And by the way, Google has more hotel reviews today than TripAdvisor, Yelp, and all the other review sites combined.
Right.
And people don't know that. So through your Google My Business Listing, this is where you can, first of all, see all of the reviews and respond to all of the reviews. And that's what hoteliers should be doing. Because responding to a negative review, listen, issues happen everywhere, even in your own kitchen. I mean, all of a sudden your stove will stop working. I mean, things happen, and people know that things happen. What do hoteliers do when things happen? That's what's important. For example, your elevator stopped working, and there's a complaint about this. If you respond on a timely manner, yes, we had this issue, but we have whatever subscription to the best elevator repair company in town. They came within 10 minutes and they repaired it. And of course, we service our elevators every week, and this happens very rarely. And we are confident that it will never happen to future guests. Mm. Or you have a very positive review. Of course, you have to reply to positive review in order to turn those people that are happy with you into your brand ambassadors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in any way, responding to reviews is a must, especially nowadays. So Google My Business Listing, which is the business listing. Google Ads. So you launch a small campaign on Google Ads, which is some still call it in Europe PPC, pay-per-click, which is such a inaccurate and old-fashioned. I would say here we stopped using this maybe 15 years ago, at least in New York City, at least at my company. But Google Ads, which is the Google paid search, you launch a campaign focused on your property branded keyword terms. Hotel Lancaster, London. Hotel Iroquois, New York City. These are the property-related branded keyword terms. And they're all different versions of it. Hotel Iroquois NYC, for example, is one of those versions, and so forth. So you can easily identify those, and you launch a campaign, and the main reason is the following. First of all, if you Google your own property name on Google, and guess who is advertising your own property name? Booking, and Expedia. Why? Because that's the cheapest cost per click, first of all, because that's not London hotels, which is the most expensive and the broader term. And second, people who search your hotel by name, these are people who know your property.
Mm-hmm.
These are people who have, at least they may have read about your property someplace. And these are people who have the intent of at least considering your property, considering to book your property. So these are, the job is already halfway there, done, if you will, when somebody searches your property by name. And in most cases, these are past guests or past guests referrals.
Sure.
To friends and family and so forth. People that search your property by name. So you want to own those people. And you cannot allow the OTAs to simply hijack those people who are already familiar with your property and to hijack them and turn them into OTA customers that come to your property. So that's why launching a small campaign, as much as you can afford, to focused on branded keyword terms for your property in order to target past guests or guests who are familiar with your property, or guests or future guests, potential guests who have been referred by friends and family, social media, and the likes. So first of all, the cost per clicks are very low, and there's a term called share voice. You should own the share voice. Let's say if there are 1,000 searches a month for Lancaster Hotel, London, you should own as much of those 1,000 searches as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that if you have the budget to cover half of those searches, let's say 500, then you have a 50% share voice. So that's why, depending on your budget, on your own circumstances, the higher share voice you own for your branded keyword terms, the better. So that's one thing. Google Display Network, and especially retargeting. I already mentioned, these are people who come to your website, they look around, they may like what they see, they may be shopping around, like people do. People visit 18 websites on average before they make a hotel booking.
Yeah, I know I do.
So they, and if you use GDN, Google Display Network retargeting, then you're able to serve them a banner after they leave your property, and they go to CNN, they go to BBC, they go to whatever website. I mean, Google covers approximately 65% of the internet universe with the Google Display Network. So in this sense, and then you can serve a banner. Oh, did you notice that we have a special? 10% off or 20% off. Do you know that we have a free breakfast or free Wi-Fi? So these are the type of very actionable, I would say, performance marketing type of banners. These are not brand building banners. These are very concrete banner advertising with a very concrete offer. And the main reason is A, to remind them that, hey, I know that you have been to my website. And B, did you notice that we have A, B, C, D, whatever value adds, whatever promotions, whatever packages you have, whatever you want to promote. And then, you can even determine how many times you serve this banner, what is the frequency on one hand, on the other hand, when do you serve this banner? Do you serve it? Okay, everybody who's been to my website, I want to serve up to 5 times. And then I want to serve 5 different banners each time.
Yeah.
And we have had cases where we're serving, even we have done tests with clients. Oh, did you notice that we have a 10% off? And then the second banner is, did you notice that we have 15% off? And did you notice that we have 20% off? And basically we see where the client will click and will come back and will book at what is the best promotion, basically.
Yeah.
That makes them convert. So, but Google Display Network, GDN, with a very concrete retargeting, and this is performance marketing, which is call to action marketing, not brand marketing, I would say is a must these days, and the cost is negligible. That's the whole point. I mean, the CPAs, the cost, the CPMs, the cost per million, cost per 1,000 impressions are $3, $5. So in this sense, 1,000 times your banner is being served, you pay $5. That's how it works. So in this sense, it's cheap, it's right to the point, and second, it's simply you're providing the chance for another bite at the apple, if you will, for another opportunity for these people who are already familiar with your product because they have been on your website to come back and convert. So, and then definitely, so Google Hotel Ads, focus on your branded keyword terms, Google Display Network, GDN, retargeting, focusing on people who have been on your website, are the two must-have nowadays. And then the last one definitely is Google Hotel Ads, the new program that Google launched, which is a pay-per-stay program.
Yeah.
So it's meta search on Google, which is the pricing ads, if you will, that you see sprinkled around from Google Maps to the Google search engine result pages, to your own Google My Business local listing on Google. So it's these pricing ads are everywhere nowadays, sprinkled around Google. And if you sign up through your CRS, central reservation service provider, or your channel manager, for Google Hotel Ads, and sign up for their pay-per-stay program. So you don't pay, you don't need advertising budget, you don't pay per click like regular CPC advertising on Google. You pay only if somebody books and stays at your property. And then it's up to you to decide how much are you willing to pay for that. And you decide either in the form of flat fee or in the form of a percentage of the booked value.
Sure.
So you can say, okay, I pay Expedia 20% commission. I pay booking 18%. I'm willing to pay Google 10%. That's how it works. So depending on how bad you need the business, then you can. And of course, the higher the flat fee or the commission you pay Google, the more presence you will have, and the better presence you will have in this Google Hotel Ads. Yes.
I think it's interesting. Obviously, as I said, the first time I ever saw your profile was because of these series of articles. And one of the biggest things that I've been sort of involved in talking to people about is how they need to be more creative in how they're promoting their business. And I think Google can be one of these tools now more than ever where you can get creative with how you're using it. I suppose one of the points you made was in terms of the different areas of the tool, I suppose, if you're not using all of them or utilizing as many as possible, you're hindering your own business and you're hindering your own performance and the potential to obviously grow your business, especially in a a time like this. And as I say, that's sort of what drew me in with this sort of hotels working alongside Google. And you're right. I think there's certainly been a dialogue anyway regarding Google becoming an OTA almost. And do you think Google will start to move into this area of an OTA, or do you think they're just this colossal beast that doesn't even need to?
No, first of all, let's put it this way. An OTA is a very dirty business, and it's a low margin business.
Yeah.
And it's an asset heavy business. You have to have offices, you have to have people. And by the way, when talking about people, I mean, you know from your own experience, before the pandemic, even in February, there was a acute shortage of revenue managers.
Yes. Yeah.
So where would Google even find and hire those people? They're not available.
They could start now.
So in this sense, and then investing in the technology, Google is an asset light operator. Very simple, asset light operator. Referral fees, referral fees, referral fees. That's all they care about. So in this sense, they don't have the ability from a technological perspective.
Yeah.
Today, I mean, they have all the talent if they put their mind into it and they do the investments. Let's say within 3 years they can come up with a OTA type of a CRS.
Yeah.
Within let's say 5 years they can come up with all the offices around the world, with all the salespeople that are selling to hotels, all the area directors that which are trained revenue managers and so forth that Booking has, that Expedia has. I mean, these are people that Booking and Expedia have people that came from the hospitality industry. They speak the lingo, and they have been hired. How?
Yeah.
How do you hire trained people, professionals with experience? You pay them more, so they're expensive people. That's my point. And then again, I mean, so Google, even if they want to hire people like this right now because of layoffs and furloughs, let's say that they can, but generally speaking, it will take them a long time to train them, to create the processes in place. So let's say within 3 years, if Google puts their mind into it, they can create like an OTA type of operation. The main thing is why? Why do they need that? They don't need that, because they're making more money from travel today without being an OTA than Booking, Trip, and Expedia combined, the 3 top OTAs on planet Earth. So why bother?
Yeah, there's as you say, there's almost no, well, there is no need. There's absolutely no need at all. If they're generating what they are already without even delving into that area of the market.
And the main thing is the customer service, mind you. The customer service requires humans. With all the AI involved nowadays, still you need humans.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine you go to Expedia and you book an airline seat, an air from New York to, let's say, Los Angeles. Do you know how much Expedia makes from this? $0. $0. The major airlines stopped paying commissions or any fees to the OTAs and travel agents a long time ago.
Right.
Expedia used to charge a service fee, like $5, $6 per reservation, but because Priceline removed all the service fees, they were forced 10 years ago to drop those fees. So right now, if you book Delta Airlines or British Airlines from New York to London, or Delta Airlines from New York City to San Francisco, Expedia makes $0. So now, why do they do it? And by the way, 60% of reservations on Expedia are airline tickets.
Right.
So why do they do it? They get a small kickbacks from the GDSs that they use on the back end, from Amadeus, from Sabre, and so forth. But why do they do it? The main reason is that they have a customer, a captive audience, where they can upsell
Yes.
hotels, car rental, local experiences, and so forth. That's the main reason why. And if you look at, but just imagine, you make a reservation on Expedia, and then you say, oh, shucks, I forgot to book an aisle seat. So you pick up the phone, you call Expedia, somebody has to pick up the phone on their end, and you have to say, oh, sorry, I made a reservation, but I forgot to book my seat, and I need an aisle seat. Can you please reserve an aisle? Okay, what is your record locator? Blah, blah, blah. And then, so the person on the other end, which is customer service that Expedia has to provide, has to be very polite. They do the job. They reserve you a aisle seat, and they get $0 for that. Google will never enter a $0 business.
Yeah, yeah. When you put
That's the whole point, especially that is service delivered by humans. It will never happen. So my whole point is that the OTA model, it exists. Booking has turned this into I would say, an art form. They're very good at what they do. Expedia is getting there, very good at what they do, but that's not Google.
No. You obviously touched on the fact of revenue managers, and obviously they're not being, well, there was a shortage somewhat before the pandemic, and of course obviously now we're seeing many of them on the job market. But from your experience and obviously your background, but also with your role at NYU, how do you see the revenue manager? How do you see that role developing post-pandemic?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Traditional revenue managers were data analysts.
Yeah.
That's the description that best fits a traditional revenue manager. In many cases, they spent too much time on historical data, too much time on what the competition pricing and so forth. And I would say they did not spend almost no time on demand generation, because that wasn't their job to create demand. Demand, that's the sales and marketing.
Yeah,
that's the sales and marketing team. So channel management, data analytics, and comp set analysis, comp set pricing analysis. I believe that's gone, because all of this can be automated with the new type of cloud-based revenue management systems like Duetto, like Ideas. You have the SHR revenue management system and so on. Info RMS. So the revenue management systems atomize in Europe, for example. The new type of cloud-based revenue management systems. All of this can be automated, and you don't need a human for that.
Yeah.
So the new role of the revenue manager is not so much as a reader of historical data, because historical data is irrelevant nowadays, or it will be irrelevant over the next at least 24 months.
Yeah.
Not so much as plagiarists of their competition pricing. Oh, my competitors have a 199 bar, so we have to match it. There's no science here.
No.
But their role, I believe, has evolved and is needed as demand generators. And here is the caveat. Because of the nature of the revenue manager as a very dry analyst, data analyst, can they be creative?
Yeah, yeah.
And I believe that the future is revenue managers partnering with their digital marketing colleagues, with their CRM, customer relationship management colleagues, and creating a one team, integrated revenue generation team, where each of the parties, the revenue managers bring the analytics, bring I would say the mathematical and data analytical skills.
Yeah.
The digital marketers bring the knowledge of guest acquisition, new guest acquisition, all the digital channels, whatever we discussed about Google and the likes.
Yeah.
And their creativity. And then the CRM brings the knowledge of past guests, of their behavior, of their preferences, and of their knowledge of loyalty marketing, all of the marketing automation, drip campaigns, and so forth, and upsells, pre and while on property. Yeah. All of this combined is the perfect formula for a revenue generation team.
Yeah.
Because especially nowadays, when with this very low travel demand, you're acquiring a new guest among these diminished audiences that are traveling is an uphill battle. It's a very expensive proposition. So any property, any smart hotelier would focus, in this moment, will focus on their repeat guests, on their repeat business. And how can they grow their repeat business? And that's where, so focusing on those, this is where your digital marketer comes into play. This is where definitely your CRM specialists come into place. And of course, the revenue manager working with them, again, that's a winning proposition. So the integrated revenue generation team is the future, at least in the foreseeable future. And of course, backed by a revenue management system that can do all of the mundane number crunching and so forth, and that spit out recommendations for. We believe that the price, based on the current demand, based on the booking pace, based on intent data that comes from the digital marketing services, based on our repeat business and repeat business seasonality patterns, my recommendation, that's the revenue management system powered by artificial intelligence, my recommendation for a bar rate for March 27th of 2021 is £200. You don't have to do this as a human. The machine will come up with those recommendations based on all the correct and relevant input into the system. But my whole point is that how do you increase your occupancy from, let's say in the United States right now, it's approximately 50% occupancy. How do you increase it to, let's say in New York City, in order to survive, a hotel needs 85% because of the high taxes, high real estate taxes and so forth, the very expensive real estate and so forth in the city. Same as in London, by the way, major metropolitan areas. You need high occupancy, so 85% minimum where you break even. How do you bridge the gap between 50 today and 85 where you need to be?
Yeah.
That's my point. So revenue generation team and the revenue manager being one of the key elements within this revenue generation team, working hand in hand in a very symbiotic way. That's the future of revenue management, powered by and backed by, supported by a revenue management system, of course, cloud-based, artificial intelligence-powered revenue management system, by a cloud-based CRM system, and again, artificial intelligence powered CRM system, backed by very solid digital marketing services platform, your content management system on the website, with the merchandising capabilities, with the personalization engine and so forth. So backed by technology, these three segments working hand in hand, that's the future. There's no other way.
Love it. I think a lot of people will be agreeing with you on this. So anybody that does watch this, please comment down below what you think the future of a revenue manager will be post-pandemic. Max, obviously, with everything going on at the moment, what's been going on with yourself in terms of projects, new initiatives, anything like that going on at the moment for yourself?
Well, I mean, I have always been a technologist.
Yeah.
And I have always loved working with hospitality technology. I mean, from the PMS, the CRS, and CRM, and RMS, and DMS, and content management system, the CMS, and all of the different digital marketing technology side of the business. One thing that has happened in our industry over the last, I would say, 10, 12 years is the following. Our guests, when they came to our hotels, they always found better technology at our hotels. Better, for example, we have internet, we had Wi-Fi when not many people had Wi-Fi at home.
Mm-hmm.
We had flat screen TVs when not everybody had flat screen TVs at home. We had HBO when not everybody had HBO at home.
Mm-hmm.
So we had better technology, we had better linens, better bedding at our hotels than what people had at home. This has been reversed extremely drastically over the last 10, 15 years. Now people at home have better furniture, better bedding, better linen, and most importantly, better technology than we have at our hotels. So all of a sudden, we have people that are used to better things that come as our guests.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to a stodgy room with a flat screen TV, but you still have to use your remote, which nobody wants to touch nowadays because of COVID. You still have to call, pick up the phone that nobody wants to touch, and call the front desk in order to order extra pillow, for example. You go to a room that doesn't know that you are coming, room that is overheated or over chilled by a blasting AC, while you prefer the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You come to a room that is away from the elevator while you prefer a room close to the elevator, or vice versa. What they mean is that our guests today are more sophisticated, are more tech savvy than we are in our industry.
Yeah.
And this is the main discrepancy and the main issue that we're having today. So how do we remedy the situation? I mean, and by the way, there are many reasons for that. First of all, underinvestment in technology.
Yeah.
For many hotel owners, technology means, oh yeah, we have elevators, man. That's the technology.
Yeah.
Or the malls, they will have, oh, we have a PMS. Yeah, it's a on property. It's not a cloud PMS. You cannot do any APIs to this PMS for any service, even mobile, for example, mobile check-in that you have to have nowadays.
Yeah.
You cannot do because you have to call your PMS provider. They have to schedule somebody to come to the property, or they have to work on the back end. But still, it requires a lot of tweaking, a lot of back and forth. It's very expensive. And then you have to pay a steep monthly fee for this API. So my whole point is that underinvestment in technology, systemic underinvestment in technology, systemic underinvestment in technology education in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
How many hospitality schools on planet Earth offer technology courses?
Very few.
Very few. I mean, the top, let's say the top 5 hospitality schools on planet Earth do not offer technology courses.
Mm-hmm.
Why? They offer revenue management courses, yet revenue management has evolved into, and we discussed this, into a completely different science nowadays. And you need technology, you need the RMS on the back end. So you need to know AI at least as a technologist.
Yeah.
The business applications of AI. You need to know an RMS system inside out before you even graduate hospitality school. The principles of revenue management are obvious. You have to know that.
Mm-hmm.
My whole point is that we don't have technology trained specialists in our industry. We underinvest in technology in our industry, and that's why our guests have surpassed us as far as tech savviness.
Yeah.
And this is what we have to address. So this is a theme that is really bothering me for many years, and now that's what I am focusing on trying to remedy the situation by, first of all, of course, teaching, by writing about this, by blogging about this, and by making sure that hotel ownership and hotel management understands that they're falling behind. They have already fallen behind, and we're talking about tech-savvy customers who would demand to have, of course, you need a mobile assistant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Because, through the mobile assistant, you don't have to touch anything.
No.
Hey, turn on the TV. Hey, turn off, the AC, or turn down the AC. Or set the temperature to 72 degrees, or whatever it is. My whole point. Please order 2 additional pillows. I want an extra blanket. All of this can be done through mobile assistants, through texting, using your own smartphone. Of course, the smart TV in the room should know who you are, and through your smartphone, you should be able to communicate and not log in with passwords and the likes, but sync your Netflix account and sync it only for the duration of your stay. And automatically, of course, it's deleted after that. So that you can watch your favorite show or Amazon Prime or whatever it is you're watching. And again, you don't touch anything, and you communicate with the front desk via your smartphone. But all of the IoT devices in the room, all of the artificial intelligence powered devices in the room, even going to the next step where you have a smart room, which Marriott is experimenting with, which Hilton is experimenting with, where the room, based on your preferences as a loyalty member, that's where they start first, automatically adjusts itself to your preferences. So when you make a reservation for coming in 2 weeks, for example, or next week, of course, your reservation flows, however it comes, it flows to the PMS. the PMS sends an alert to your favorite type of room, and on the day of your arrival, the room is automatically adjusts the temperature to your liking. Automatically alert is sent to housekeeping, 2 extra pillows. Automatically, if there's the room service still existing somewhere on planet Earth, a room service, a bottle of wine, your favorite wine or favorite single malt Scotch whiskey to the room.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the room knows who you are and adjusts to you automatically. That's the future. And only then our tech-savvy guests will be at at par with their preferences and with our tech-savvy guests. So, and of course, all of this flows into, the PMS, the cloud PMS with the API, open API marketplace. For example, Opera Cloud has an open API marketplace with 3,100 different vendors, from mobile check-ins to various virtual concierge vendors, to housekeeping vendors, to mobile assistant type of vendors. All of these need APIs to the PMS. Opera already has them.
Yeah.
So you just go and you check, I want this vendor, I want that vendor. You as a hotelier, I want to enable them. Of course, there's a fee, but the fee is very reasonable. So my whole point is that, and the same, by the way, is with Stay in Touch. The same is with Protel. The same is with Cloudbed. So all of those new type of cloud PMSs have this functionality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very good, I would say, beginning of we in our industry overcoming this deficiency, this technology deficiency that exists today.
Max, thank you so much for taking the time out of your
pleasure.
Schedule.
Good luck.
It's been great to get your insight into various different topics. Obviously, the Google one was the big one for me. It was so compelling seeing what you'd been coming up with. And obviously, I hope that our audience has taken some of that in. And of course, the future of a revenue manager, again, I couldn't agree with you more. And then finally, with regards to the future and the projects that you're going to be focused on, again, I'd love to catch up with you and see how things are developing from that end.
Okay.
Again, thank you so much for taking the time out. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please take a look who's on next week's episode now.